This pasta's gone viral one too many times. Or has it? Even though it's mostly illegal in the eyes of an Italian, something about that wrongfulness is so right. So creamy, it's almost at a French luxury level. Salty, spicy, a little sweet, garlicky. It's almost like built for any palate around the world, even though it feels like it comes from nowhere. But this is, to me, the very best and the perfect way to make spicy vodka pasta. So let's make this, shall we?
We're first putting store-bought pasta to the test with the homemade rigatoni method. Then we'll make our creamy vodka sauce before combining with the pasta for our final plating.
If you're making spicy vodka pasta, what's the most important element? The vodka? No, that was always a lie. You don't even need vodka. It doesn't do apparently. But what you do need to focus on is really two elements, the sauce and the pasta. Pasta is more than 50% of the dish. You can use dry pasta or you can make your own. How do you make your own? Very simply, you just need
500 grams of semolina flour and 250 grams of water.
That's it. You just mix it together by hand. It's gonna be pretty dry. Just trust the process, okay? You're just gonna keep mixing and mixing. If it's too crumbly, you just wanna add a tiny splash of water. And the more you mix it, it's gonna suddenly come together into sort of a mass. You don't really wanna knead this too much. Just as soon as it comes into a formable ball, you're ready for the next step. I know what you're thinking. What in the hell is going on? He's got a KitchenAid. Well, in order to make rigatoni, which I think is the best cut of pasta, you're gonna need an extruder. If you can afford it, get one. There's an attachment for a KitchenAid. You don't need to go buy a really expensive giant one. You can literally just use this attachment. If you can't get one or you don't want to get one, guess what? Dried rigatoni is just fine. But let's at least look at how rigatoni is made. It's so simple. You take your dough, form it into small balls, let this go around to 6, and you're gonna drop your dough balls in there like so. So you're gonna take your stuff and you just press it through, and watch this, look. You cut. Now the first batch is gonna be a little curled, but they'll get straighter as you do this more. And then you just press them through to the length that you desire. Then once you're done, you just toss it with semolina, pop it in the fridge, dry it overnight, uncovered. And you're left with this. They got that clickety clack. This is probably the easiest homemade pasta to make because there's no sheeting involved. There's no waiting for the dough to rest. You just mix and run it through a press, that's it. You can also choose the length, you can choose the width, you can choose the shape, you can make it into anything you want. There is wait time, but it's kind of cool to see you made your own. The sauce is incredibly easy and we're using fresh chilies. I got 2 red Fresnos. You can also use red jalapenos. We're gonna finely dice these. Here's a little trick on how to do that. Sharp knife. You're gonna cut the top off with just the stem and the tip. All right, now you have this sort of hollowed out little guy. You can turn it over and just cut just enough through until you get through that first layer. If you open it up, you can essentially see the membrane and all the seeds. So you're gonna cut down without cutting all the way through, open it up, and then cut around to carefully remove this centerpiece that has all the seeds in it. Any excess seeds just tap out. A couple seeds never hurt anybody. You don't have to be perfect with it, right? But now you have a sheet. Repeat that with the other chili. Now I have 2 sheets and 2 pepper nipples. All right, finally dice. Do it this way every time, please. All you gotta do is just cut this into thin little strips, okay? Like 1/8 of an inch thin, right? See these little strips? Look at the thickness of this. I want that same thickness, but now this direction, so that you get equally sized cubes, all right? So you run your knife through, nice and slow. You don't have to go fast. See that? That's a perfect little slice. The more you do it, the faster you can go. But you know, if it's your first time, start slow. Now I know I cut these relatively evenly, but the thing is, the only reason we do that is because we're gonna run our knife through it to get it just a touch smaller. Oh, I wasted all my time making it look nice. No, you saved yourself time because imagine taking bigger chunks and then having to cut them smaller. It would take you significantly longer during this part to get them smaller. Trust me, do it that way. It's good practice and it's worth the effort. All right, that should do it. Nice little fine chop. Now we have 5 cloves of garlic. Those are just gonna get thinly sliced. Now last but not least, guanciale. You can also use bacon if you can't find guanciale, but guanciale I highly recommend. So you're gonna need about 4 ounces of this bad boy, all right? And we're gonna dice it. So cut it into 1/8 of an inch wide planks, which you'll then cut into 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch batons. And then once more, just like the chili, the other direction, these nice little cubes. Now we cook. If you're not making the pasta, this is an even simpler recipe, but it's very basic. Pasta water. It's boiling. Season it generously with salt. It should be almost as salty as the ocean. So very, very, very salty. We're not gonna drop our pasta yet. Let's just make our sauce all the way through. We're almost done, and then we'll worry about our pasta. So very basic. 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil into a pan, medium-low heat. I'm not being paid to say this. These deep saute pans are the perfect pan for making pasta like this. But you can also just use a large saute pan, or even another one of these pots would work fine. All right, guanciale goes in. Literally just cook that stirring often until the guanciale is crispy and browned. Now at that point, you're then going to add your chilies, your garlic. Let that cook for about 30 to 45 seconds, just till fragrant. Season with a little bit of salt just to draw out some of that moisture. Then you're gonna add 2.5 teaspoons of granulated sugar. Yes, oh God, he's putting sugar in here. It's spicy vodka pasta, all right, Italians, just calm down. Stir that in. It's time. Tomato paste, but my secret ingredient, the thing that I think makes this the best spicy vodka pasta, bar none, 3 tablespoons of an unlikely choice gochujang. Think about it. I mean, like, why can't you put gochujang in here? It already has chilies in it. Why not put just some fermented ones that have tons of flavor and umami? Stir that in, along with 1 cup of the nicest tomato paste you can find. People shame tomato paste too much. What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. They already did the work for you. They took beautiful, luscious, high-quality San Marzano tomatoes and then blended them and then reduced them down to a beautiful, delicious paste. We're gonna stir that into the oil. The oil will mix into it. And then we're just gonna cook that down for like 2-3 minutes, just until that paste starts to caramelize on the bottom. Now, while that's going, we can start our pasta, right? If you're using dried pasta, you'll definitely wanna start at this stage. So we have our boiling water. Now I'm going with dried rigatoni just for the visual sake, but we'll have another one with the fresh to see which one is better.
You're gonna cook the package directions until al dente.
Tomato paste is sort of starting to stick to the bottom. That is indicating that we are ready to add the most crucial ingredient, the vodka, 1 tablespoon. Supposedly it helps with the emulsification. I've also read that that's horse and 1/4 cup of water. Now that's just gonna help turn that paste into a little bit more of a sauce. At this stage, you're then gonna add 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, the heaviest of the heaviest. Just stir that in nicely. Now remember, we're gonna season this with just a touch of salt. Adjust salt levels as needed. It may need more, it may need, well, hopefully not less, because once you get to that stage, you're kind of screwed. Bring that up to a boil on medium-high, reduce the heat to low, and bring it to a nice simmer. And just let that go for like 1 to 2 minutes. You don't need to reduce it too much, it's thick enough. If your pasta isn't ready yet, turn the heat off and wait until it is. Then, once your pasta is ready, we're gonna come right over here. My sauce is ready, it's quivering, and you're gonna get messy with it, all right? I don't like to strain my pasta because I don't know how much pasta water I'm gonna use. So instead I'm gonna use a spider, which you can use for frying. You just scoop your pasta out like that. And we have 3/4 cup of shredded pecorino cheese and 2 tablespoons of ice cold butter cut into cubes. Make sure it's at the ready. Have it by your side. If it's not ready yet, go grab it. Plop our pasta in there. It's okay if a little pasta water gets in there, that's good. It's also gonna help emulsify the sauce. Because we're first gonna get the pasta going, toss it a little bit in the sauce, a little messy, that's all right. And then we're gonna add our pecorino and our butter right in there, and you're gonna start tossing, all right? And you're gonna add intermittently, maybe a ladle full, about 1/4 cup of pasta water. We'll start like that. If you don't wanna toss it and that's scary, then just stir it like this. You wanna stir it vigorously so it emulsifies properly. If you go too slow, it won't emulsify properly. That's why you always see the chefs over here making a big old mess doing something like this. Now at this stage, the sauce should be glossy, it should be shimmering, it should be sticking beautifully to your pasta without falling off. It should be thick, yet not too thick. At this stage, I would definitely taste for salt. Make sure it's salted nicely. And adjust salt levels as needed, because this is the last moment you can season it properly, all right, buddy? We're ready to plate and test fresh versus dry.
Into a bowl, ladle in your saucy rigatoni, grate some more pecorino or Parmigiano Reggiano over your pasta, and lastly, top that silky, glistening pasta with some fresh cracked black pepper. You know you want this.
God damn! That is a solid recipe. If you make this, you will be happy with it. Period, end of story. There is no question in my mind, just make it. It's just like you taste every little element. It's not too heavy cream, dairy flavored. The cream just adds a little bit of richness and creaminess to it, but you're really picking up the flavor of that nice rich tomato, that nice sort of like garlickiness. The fresh pepper comes in and gives you a little bit of a different kind of a spice, not a dried pepper flake spice, but like a fresh cooked down, fragrant pepper flavor, if that makes sense. Then of course, all combined with the rigatoni, which is the perfect pasta for this, but the real question is dried versus the fresh. Back to the dried. I can't believe I'm saying this, but honestly, they're the same. I'm not even joking. Maybe the fresh one has like 5 to 8% extra niceness in the chew, I guess. Honestly, if you close my eyes and put the two together, I would probably be able to tell that this one was slightly different by like 5%. So if you want to say that you made it yourself or have control of the shape, then that's a good reason to make it. If that's not what you care about, then just go dried. But the main point is the link is in the description for this full recipe. You can make it with dried pasta, make it with fresh pasta, make it with egg noodles. That might be good. Ramen noodles, that might be good too. Noodles, pasta. Either way, subscribe, love you, bye.